that.
All right. Batman versus Superman. I didn't think the movie was as bad as everyone made it out to be.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of people that decided to prejudge the movie before they even saw it, just based upon other word of mouth.
Or Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. All right. I had an issue more with Jesse Eisenberg right from the very start.
He was so weird.
And to me,
I don't know where the crazy came from. That one threw me.
Yeah, and to me, that was the worst part of that movie, was his performance. The only time that I really saw the Luthor that I wanted to see was at the very end when he's in the prison. And so, it wasn't a perfect movie. You'd be hard-pressed to find a perfect movie.
But is it going to be a good story? Because we kind of get a sense of what story they're about to tell. Is it going to be a halfway decent story?
It's got the potential. I'd love what they did with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and she's
awesome.
she's not in it enough.
And the talk with the Wonder Woman solo movie coming out is that a lot of it is going to be set in World War I. That was the success for me with the first Captain America movie, was it being set in World War II, and it gave us a kind of fresh perspective, and I hope that carries over with the Wonder Woman movie being set in World War I. So.
Well, it also gives you good material for a sequel if you like our adventure in World War I.
Yep.
Now, I got to say, I'm glad you guys went first. I got to say, to me, this is one of those films, like many others, if you're used to dealing with films and filmmakers, cutting 30 minutes out of any movie will change a movie.
It makes it detrimental, yeah.
And this movie was already tight and ready to go at 3 hours. Now, first of all, anyone that enjoyed the Watchmen film, you realize it was a better movie at 3 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of Zack Snyder stuff is better at 3 hours. The fact that Warner Brothers enjoyed the 3-hour cut and then came back later to tell him, hey, we're not going to release it. We're just going to release a cut version of this perfect movie. To me, it all changes once we see the 3-hour version. Okay? For me, what you got was a imperfect film. That's kind of like showing the Star Wars trilogy, the first trilogy, to a group of kids, but you don't show them Empire. You just show them the first and the last movie.
Gotcha.
You cut out that middle section.
Which is...
I mean, with A New Hope,
Yep.
and then with Return of the Jedi, without Empire, it's a whole different ballgame.
It's a totally different ballgame, yeah.
And that's what I think we've got in this case. Now, I'm not saying it's like all that in a bag of chips, but the movie's not as bad as we may think.
As long as we don't show them the original prequels.
And the thing about Jesse Eisenberg's performance is he was the one that completely suffered because they cut a lot of his stuff. They cut a lot of people. There's a whole segment missing at the beginning of the movie. The Africa sequence is longer.
Yeah.
Way longer.
That would have helped set up the table.
The stage because you learn more about, quote unquote, Jimmy Olsen in the movie. So he's in there longer.
You're right, quote unquote, Jimmy Olsen.
Well, for us right now, it is quote unquote.
Yeah.
In that version, it is Jimmy.
Yeah.
And so it has much more of an emotional impact, and it has to deal with, the stories are better. You get better character interaction and a better understanding of everything. So as far as I'm concerned, $855 million for a movie that was incomplete.
That's a lot of money.
And look at it go.
Yep.
I mean, just think of what they could have made if it had actually been a 3-hour film.
Make it long.
So in this case, make it long.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about the character development. There was one thing that I really enjoyed. They did right before, in their promotional stuff, is they had those Dr. Pepper things where you went and downloaded that comic. That 5-issue mini comic it really set up a movie that I felt like I got kind of cheated out of, because it really defined the Batman character as why he feels this way, and with the Superman coming out, it really defined Lex Luthor in a better way than the movie ever looked into doing.
Well, the movie version that we got.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of that, I again blame Warner Brothers PR. Because there are a lot of different comic books, there are a lot of different animated things that have been produced that would have been very good material going in if people knew to watch it, okay? Justice League War, and Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox.
Woohoo!
Two
It's awesome.
animated.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They're
Yeah.
both on Netflix.
Right.
I told people to go ahead and watch those before they saw the movie,
Yeah,
and you come out understanding so much more.
Well,
the
and
And you'll
Flash
see
segment
something
makes-
good.
Yes, you understand things way better, and the whole Jimmy Olsen storyline.
Right.
That's actually from Injustice: Gods Among Us. So if you've actually played the game, you understood what they were going. So really, you have a filmmaker that's pulling not only just from the comics, he's pulling from the animated stuff, he's pulling from everything.
Which is an
That's
actual.
what Warner wants.
That's
Yeah.
what Warner.
Which is actually a great
The new
game.
head of Warner
Yeah.
is the guy that ran their home video section and was partially responsible for all those great animated stuff that we saw. So it makes more sense.
Gotcha.
All of it makes sense.
Yeah. We on the Horror Movie Podcast, actually last week we did a roundtable discussion
Yeah.
on Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
And so if you want to hear my take on it, go to iTunes, download the Horror Movie Podcast, Batman vs Superman episode. Thank you very much. All right. So shameless plug. See what I did there? Okay.
I love the horrible movie.
That was
podcast.
ridiculous.
It's great
fun.
stuff.
It's horrible. Jungle Book. I took my 5-year-old to watch the Jungle Book.
Yes.
And it was visually unbelievable. 10 years ago, we would have talking animals, and it would look horrible. Like it would be an animal with the Conan O'Brien mouth talking, and that's not what we got there. Have you guys all seen the Jungle Book?
I haven't.
I haven't, but
I'm looking forward to the entire series of things that they're doing. They're working on Peach Dragon is actually also in post and
That's
ready
cool.
to come out, and it's going to be awesome.
Right.
And they've got another one that I'm not even going to mention. It's in pre-production. I'm very much looking forward to. I'm not even going to say the name of it, but Disney is rocking it.
Yeah.
well,
Get it done.
they got the cash and they have the wherewithal.
And they have the properties, man. They got every
Oh,
property
big
you
word.
can imagine.
Big word from Keith and Fanatics and the Fan.
Yeah, if you listen to the show on a regular basis, you know I do that a lot. But
You mean talk too much?
no, that's you. But you know what I really, really enjoy out of that is just the fact that you just have a lot of really in the Jungle Book. You have a lot of people who are just big fans of the book, and it tells. That is a movie that just comes across as like this is just.
Yeah.
This is phenomenal.
It was phenomenal.
And the business that this film's been doing is
Right.
amazing.
The voice casting, just the casting for
No,
the
it's
voices
perfect.
that they picked
Yeah.
were just
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, perfect.
Ingenious in some places. Just
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right on. Well, that's kind of wraps up kind of the then part of our
Woohoo.
conversation.
Yeah.
No Daredevil talk.
Well, we kind of segued to Daredevil and talked a little about it. We can talk Daredevil real quick
No, we
if
don't
you
have
want
to.
to. Season 2 of Daredevil, awesome. Like awesome. I thought.
Clean up your
nothing
fight
better.
scenes for season 3 is all I ask.
What's
I'm saying clean up the fight scenes for season 3, please.
Clean them up.
Clean 'em up.
You didn't like the fight scenes?
The last fight scene was awful. It was so bad.
I respectfully disagree. I do. I think,
As someone who also films fight scenes, there were some, and I think it was just one person, and I'm not going to name her name or anything, but some of the fight scenes need to be a little bit cleaned up. But still, the most amazing fight scenes ever. Even if they were sloppy, they were still great.
They were still awesome, yeah. They were still
I
awesome.
wish I could screw up that good.
Yeah.
You know.
Fail
well,
upward.
I look from that to Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool's in that now. All
Yeah,
of you
that's
guys
true. Yeah,
enjoyed
that's right.
Deadpool.
No, that was awesome. Yeah.
Is there
How could
anybody
you
that
not?
didn't?
There's a photo going around that I know of that the VisionCon staff put together. They found a place to do the superhero landing in Springfield. It's a great photo, and they won't tell anybody where it is. and folks, if you don't notice, Brandon's nodding his head, laughing, trying to keep his mouth shut because he was involved with it.
It's a secret.
But
Like all
the whole
good
movie was
superheroes.
great.
Yeah,
It
was
really
awesome.
was, and shocking because I hate Ryan.
7 years. 7 years of just working it.
Yeah.
7 years of Fox just going, well, we don't know.
Well, I'm picking it up out of the trash can and open the script back up and like.
and a $68 million budget.
Yep.
After having just the current X-Men and
Yep.
all the other X movies at about, 200 plus budgets for those?
Yeah, and pulling off what they pulled off. Of some
Oh, my goodness.
That was the best representation of Colossus that we've seen
Ever.
on
Oh,
screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean that
It
was
wasn't-
most true to the comic
Right.
book version.
That's the important
Dude, how many
part.
people laughed when he got punched by that girl?
Yeah.
That was the greatest.
Everybody
That
laughed
was
at
awesome.
everything.
Yeah, it was good.
That
And
entire
I
movie,
loved him, but-
excellent. And from a comic book lover's point of view,
Yes.
come on,
Yeah.
that movie. They should just turn all future X-Men films over to Ryan Reynolds and his team because they know how to do it. Cheaper too.
Yeah, definitely. With the Deadpool movie, the only thing that worries me is what else is Fox going to pick up out of the trash and think that they can put back on anything.
That's true.
I mean,
True.
there's a lot of properties that I'd love to see them bring back, but I know if they do, they're just going to ruin.
Well, there's a lot of properties they no longer have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
They're just down to the X-Men universe at this point.
Well, I'm just talking
X-Men
about
and
anything.
Fantastic
yeah,
Four.
Yeah.
but
if
that,
they were, if
that
they were
might
smart,
be going away.
Well, if they were, if they
Yeah.
were smart, they would give Fantastic Four back to Marvel Studios.
I
and
would
let them-
actually not mind if they put that on the shelf long enough for another generation to have it.
Well,
I hate to say that.
To get some of the bad taste out of their mouth from
Yeah,
the last.
Fantastic
Movie.
Four could easily be a Netflix series.
It could. It really
Because look,
could.
as long as you can have something like Doctor Who running,
Yep.
That would be a great.
that's
next
basically Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Disney knows how to do it. I mean, they've already had Fantastic Four. They called it The Incredibles, and
Yeah.
they did it fantastically.
Yeah.
They
So
really did.
I wouldn't put it on a
Which
shelf.
aren't they? Correct me if I'm. They're doing another. They're doing a
Yes,
sequel.
there's
Yeah.
a sequel.
I'm actually looking
Another
for.
Yeah.
Cars movie too. Anyway,
So
yes,
let's-
we were moving on.
Okay.
So let's talk about things going on within the next week, next month, because I will tell you, for me as a comic book fan and as a Star Wars fan, the first week of May is like Nerd Christmas. All right. First of all, we got May 4th coming up, which is like the unofficial official Star Wars Day.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's always, and I tell you, Disney missed the mark. They should have released Force Awakens on DVD Blu-ray on May 4th.
Yeah, really
not,
should've.
not in early April. May 4th. That was
I
your
have
day
no
to
idea why
release
they
it.
didn't do that. This is
So-
when I saw that it was coming out, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
It almost because wasn't it still in the theaters almost like at the cheap theaters? It made
Yeah.
no sense.
I think it's a business thing because Disney doesn't like to compete against itself.
Exactly.
And with Captain America coming out,
Sure.
it would have been competing against themselves. Again, I totally agree with you,
Yeah.
but I can also see their point of view on that one.
But they're getting to a point where they have so many things that it's like, when's not going to be a time they're going to have, compete against themselves a little bit. So
Yeah.
So what's great about May 4th this year, it falls on Wednesday, New Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
And Marvel is releasing or re-releasing all of the most recent Star Wars #1s as $1 comics. So if you have missed any of those comics, this is your chance to get all of them on the cheap, which I'm all about the cheap. So
We're nerds. We're not stupid. We
Yeah.
get the cheap.
Man, great idea. Great idea.
Has anyone been reading the Star Wars comics?
Yes.
Do you have which one do you like the best?
I really like the, what's the title? It's the one with Han Solo going with Chewie.
Star Wars.
What's your Star Wars? There's
I
several different
thought maybe
titles.
it was a trick question.
know.
I don't know.
I just pick them up when they look cool.
Okay.
I've actually
Because I never read them before, so I never knew anything about them. And when Marvel started re-releasing this from the beginning,
Yeah.
starting the new, I'm like, okay, well, what's this? And I didn't get it at first. I'm like, is this at the end of Return of the Jedi, A New Hope? What are we doing? And it took me a while, and it just kind of reminded me of everything I liked about the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Everything that got me into nerd culture to begin with was Star Wars. So, I mean, it really just kind of brought me back to that kind of, I'm 8 years old watching Star Wars again. And I really like the way the stories work through it and everything else. So,
Jason Aaron's been doing a really great
Yes.
job writing that book. Me personally, I think Darth Vader has been the best book
Oh, man.
from the Star Wars line. I really think they've been able to tell some creative stories and really expand on Darth Vader, which, I mean, truth be told, when you look at that original trilogy, we don't get enough Darth Vader in that. I mean,
no.
there's very little in comparison to all the other characters, and
But-
forget about the prequels, because that Darth Vader was like a neutered Vader. I mean, that we didn't need
Baby
that.
Vader.
So I just think the Vader book has been the best one of the current Marvel run. So
Are you looking forward to seeing Vader at least in Rogue One eventually?
I am. I think I think that's the tie-in that movie needs. But I love looking at that Rogue One trailer. I love the idea of a heist movie set within the Star Wars universe. You don't need lightsabers. You don't need Jedi. Just tell a solid story in a familiar location.